This is the Tech and Learning EDUcast, sponsored by Casio Lamp-free Projectors. My name is Tim Albright, your host. Today we're going to talk about avoiding common one-on-one implementation mistakes in K-12. First, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Casio Lamp-free Projectors. All Casio projectors use a laser and LED hybrid light source, so there are no costly lamps to buy, stock, or replace, and no filters to clean or replace. This year, Casio added a suite of collaboration tools called Education Solutions to their advanced, superior, and ultra-short throw network projectors at no additional cost. Education Solutions are designed to help teachers collaborate with their students in the classroom. You can find out more at CasioLampFree.com. One-on-one implementations is an initiative a school district will undertake to get one technology device in each student's hands. To talk about some of the common mistakes and ways to avoid them, we're joined today by Kyle Berger, Chief Technology Officer for GCISD in Grapevine, Texas.
Great. Thanks for having me, Tim.
And also with us, Mr. Wayne Borg, Marketing Manager for Casio America. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Tim. Glad to be here.
So, Kyle, let's start with you, actually. Kind of walk us through your one-on-one implementation, the kind of the best practices you guys have with your one-on-one.
Absolutely. So here in Grapevine-Colleyville ISD, we are 9 years into our one-to-one program, and that's every child from K-12 issued a device in a 24/7, 365 type of environment. So our students have connectivity all the time. Our implementation has grown over these years to build that out overall. And I think part of the big thing is just taking it slow and making that professional development and mind shift change for our classrooms to be a more interactive and inclusive environment.
What are some of the hurdles or some of the common mistakes that folks run into when they start implementing a one-to-one project?
I think one of the most common things is the assumption that all you really need to do is just buy these devices and put them in the hands of students, and that's magically going to transform learning, when there's really a lot more that has to change overall in how we're delivering instruction and as well guiding it for our students. And that misconception is pretty large by a lot of folks. And it's not just about buying things anymore. It's really about how you're going to integrate and truly impact the instructional delivery.
Well, then how do you overcome that? What are some ways to get around some of those mistakes?
So I think the key is the development with your teachers, but also getting feedback from your students. For us, student voice is a main factor in how we continue to derive and develop in our classroom. So getting the feedback on how our lessons are being delivered, how is the content, is it making sense, do we need to readjust, and then providing that professional development training for our teachers, along with the devices themselves. You have to overcome the hurdle of use, and if you put another tool in the classroom that becomes an obstacle towards instruction, then that can be very difficult for adoption for our teachers and our students. So the professional development, ease of use, and constant feedback is the key to proper development.
When you've been around the education market for a long time, what are some of the kind of the hurdles that you've seen folks get into when they start getting into one-on-one?
Well, I think with one-on-one, when they implement it into the classroom, they need to do extensive training first before they launch it, and also the follow-up on technical service, especially if it's bring your own device. Now you have many different types of devices and many different platforms that the technology staff needs to understand and be able to troubleshoot while they implement it. So I think that needs to be really thought through, which platform they're going to choose before they launch it out.
Kyle, both you and Wayne both mentioned professional development, making sure that the training is that simply the technology training, or is there some sort of training that you guys have found is helpful in changing the teachers and the instructors' pedagogy? Not to use a $10 word as you know, someone would say, but changing the way that they teach with this new implementation.
I think that's the key. I mean, the technical training is an important part, but it's really changing the structure and the way that you're delivering instruction overall. You know, the days of just standing in front of the classroom and regurgitating is gone. And when you're in a one-on-one environment, everything you're saying, the students are searching. They're finding they're going deeper with that instruction. So you have to be able to train teachers how to adapt and redevelop the way they deliver that and guide learning inside of the classroom. So overcoming the technical is definitely something, especially with different ranges of teachers that you'll find, but then just the different mindset of how you're going to deliver instruction, I think, is very important.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some of the nitty gritty when it comes to the budgets of these. Kyle, when you start talking about the budgeting, how did you navigate the budget issues and making sure that your school district could afford to do this one-on-one implementation?
Well, there's a lot of factors beyond just device. You know, a lot of people think the big thing is just getting the device in the hands of the students. But as Wayne mentioned, that could also be a bring your own. So putting that aside, just the infrastructure itself. So your needed bandwidth capacity for supporting in-room connectivity to how the teacher is going to deliver the instruction via projector displays, how content's going to be formulated, what kind of online content is going to be there for the students to access, how are you going to get that content, and data security, data privacy, all sorts of aspects. And then we've got to support it, not only as like Wayne mentioned from the technical aspect, but we've got to support it from the instructional implementation. So your budget factor has to look at several different areas of reoccurring costs, and not to mention that we all know that technology ages and changes. So we have to have that replacement cycle of sustainability built into our program, because you can't expect change overnight. It's going to take time for these programs to develop. And sometimes for some districts, by the time it's matured and developed, it's time for that refresh, and they've hit that budgeting wall and are struggling to reset.
Very interesting. Kyle, you mentioned, projectors and this, that, and the other. Talking with Wayne for a second here and with you, when we talk about some of the display technologies and getting projectors, and specifically network projectors, Wayne, when you're talking to students and talking to schools and the instructors, what do these users really want when it comes to a network projector?
Well, I think what the key is that what Kyle had mentioned, the teacher's no longer at the front of the room just lecturing the class. That there's more of a collaborative environment where the teacher is walking around the room. So the teacher wants to be walking around the room with their device and still be able to project the information up onto the screen at the front of the classroom without having to constantly go back to the front of the room. So Casio's built in some wireless connectivity and some collaboration software in our network projectors that allows the teacher to moderate and walk around in a collaborative environment.
Kyle, are you guys finding that interactivity and that collaboration is helping the instructors kind of make that transition between traditional teaching, or what we would consider to be traditional teaching, to this one-on-one implementation?
Absolutely. It's key to the transformation of our classroom, from the teacher being stuck at the front of the room on that board to be in that collaborative environment with our students, but then also to have the students with instant ability to projector display the content that they're learning. So now as a class, as a group, we can all be sharing different content. We're not having to come up to the board and all those kind of things. It's instant. And we know today's students are instant, and we want instant delivery of information. So being able to be flexible in our classroom, even on flexible design of the classroom, leads all to the very important aspect of how we're going to display for our students to consume the different types of instruction.
Absolutely. Wayne, Casio talks a lot about their new projectors working well in this one-on-one program like this. How are you guys connecting your devices? You mentioned the wireless, but how are you also talking with folks like Kyle and explaining that your systems, the Casio projectors, are really kind of engineered and geared towards the one-on-one implementations?
Well, like I said, our collaboration tools, which we call educational solutions, they're built into our network projectors. So we've done a couple of things. Number one, quick wireless connections. So as the teachers and the students move from class to class, they can connect quickly to the projector in the next classroom. And then the other thing is moderation control. So the instructors can control whose device and whose information is projecting up onto the screen. So the teachers are always in control. And then we also built in some convenient features. The teachers can project up to 4 devices up on the screen at one time. So the teachers can compare different students' activities and learning process right up on the screen. And also there's projector control, so that way that, if they lose the remote control, they can actually control all the functions of the projector as well. So basically it helps to connect wirelessly from any device, and it's compatible with Windows, a Mac, Android, Chromebook, and iOS.
Oh, very good. Kyle, as we wrap up here, what's one piece of advice you'd give either another fellow chief technology officer or just anybody in a school system looking at doing a one-on-one implementation?
Well, I think the first thing is you can't do that from sitting in your office. You need to get out in the classroom, listen to your teachers' needs, listen to the students' needs as well. And much like Wayne mentioned, once you go in, observe a classroom and hear all the different elements of teachers and how they would like to deliver that instruction, then develop your tools for that classroom built around that. If you come in already with, here's the device we're going to do, put it in their hands and just expect it to work, that's not going to go over as well for you. But having the teacher buy-in and student buy-in and those both elements of voice is very important to the development of a seamless type of integration. And being easy, keep it easy. We don't need it more complicated out there. And with the ability for wireless type of display, as mentioned, to where anywhere in the room I can connect and deliver that instruction, it changes the way that we can deliver and educate our kids. And that's the big thing for us.
Very good. Well, thank you both for joining us for this Tech and Learning EDUcast. Kyle Berger, Chief Technology Officer for Grapevine-Colleyville ISD. How do people get a hold of you or get in touch with Grapevine-Colleyville?
You can find me online on Twitter at EdTechCTO, or I'm on LinkedIn, or you can find our website, www.gcisd.net.
Very good. And Mr. Wayne Borg from Casio, how do people get a hold of you?
Sure, you can go to our website. It's www.CasioLampfree.com, and there's all the information on all of our projectors on there.
Thank you both so much, and thank you again to Casio Lamp-free Projectors for sponsoring the EDUcast. You can find out more at CasioLampfree.com. For us, for Tech and Learning, you can go by the website, techlearning.com. That's techlearning.com.